Alan here for Old English Outfitters YouTube channel. So today we are taking a look at the Sig Sauer M11-A1 9mm pistol. Now the M11-A1 is a refinement of a pistol that Sig Sauer used to make back in the 80s. It was called the P228. The 228s, the original ones, were the first effort to take the 226, a very successful pistol that Sig Sauer made at the time, and make it a little smaller. Went to a shorter barrel, went to a shorter grip, and a little less magazine capacity. The original 228s held 13 rounds in their magazines. The original 228s were adopted by the United States military right after the adoption of the Beretta, because somebody recognized that while the Beretta was a good pistol, they needed something smaller for certain pursuits. Pilots needed something smaller. Criminal investigators needed something smaller. The 228 kind of fit that bill. It passed all the military's requirements in testing, so they adopted it. It was eventually designated as the M11. The M11-A1, this pistol, made by Sig Sauer today here in the United States. The original 228s were made in Germany. This pistol, made here in the United States, is a refinement, and it borrows some of its construction from a later weapon that Sig made called the P229. The 229 was the same size as this, but the construction was different. They still went with an alloy frame and a metal slide, but the slide on the 229s was a stainless steel one-piece slide. On the 228s, it was a forged carbon steel two-piece slide. So the M11-A1, as we currently have it today, is got some pretty good improvements to it. It actually has, we took note of this, on the side of the grips here, it actually says P229, because those grips would work on a 229. The frame size is exactly the same. The rest of the pistol is a little bit different. It has a rounded front trigger guard. The 229s is usually square. The overall size, barrel length, and grip length are the same. The M11-A1 has standard Sig-Lite self-luminous tritium night sights. It comes with 3 magazines. The original 228s held 13 rounds. Part of the military spec was they wanted everything to hold 15, at least. So we have 3 15-round magazines packaged with this gun. So you buy one of these new, you get 3 15-round mags with it. So you're pretty good to go right out of the box. The 228 is basically a 220 or 226 series type weapon as far as how it operates. It is what I call a conventional double-action semi-automatic pistol. What does that mean? Well, it's a locked breech gun. It's caliber 9mm. So when the gun fires and the slide starts to move, the barrel has to drop down and unlock. Okay? Pretty much everything in this caliber range works that way, with some small exceptions. This pistol has a double-action first trigger. On the M11-A1, we have what Sig calls their short reset trigger. The trigger itself is physically smaller than the trigger on the standard series guns. That means that when it comes out, you don't have to come out quite as far, so the reset is short. First shot, double action, conventional. As you pull the trigger, you cock the hammer, and eventually it releases it, right? Then the slide will cycle, and it transitions to a single action pull. The single action pull on all the Sig P-Series pistols that I've experienced has been really, really good. It's a good single action trigger. The double action trigger is not too bad either, and will smooth up and lighten a little bit with use and with time. How do you make a pistol like this safe? It has no external manual safety. It does have an internal lock that holds the firing pin until the hammer strikes it. How do you make it safe? When you fired a couple rounds and you end up with the hammer in the cock position, well, the Sig on this side of the gun has a decocker. The purpose of this is to return the pistol to a double action first shot. When you push it down, you got to push it all the way down, and right now it trips the trigger and lets the hammer come back up. Note, the hammer does not come all the way down. Different double action systems work different ways. Some of them block the hammer, some of them block the firing pin, some of them move the firing pin, some of them do things like that. What this does is this decocks the hammer to a rebound position right there. Because when you fire this pistol, the hammer actually, as it comes down, rebounds back to that locked position. Everybody watches Hollywood movies, and everybody in the Hollywood movies, I've seen them do it with these things, I've seen it with others, they pull the trigger and put their finger on the hammer and lower the hammer. Do not do that. That is not the safe and correct way to operate this pistol. The safe and correct way is use the decocker. That way, the firing pin lock stays locked. So if you lose the hammer and it drops, it's not going to happen. Plus, the hammer doesn't go all the way down anyway. Use the decocker. Do not pull the trigger and release the hammer. That is not the safe and correct way to operate this gun. Pretty durable pistol. Alloy frame, stainless steel slide. We talked about the night sights. The metal, the rest of the metal on this gun, the hammer and some of the internal parts, has a special corrosion-resistant finish on it, the pieces that are carbon steel. I have pretty extensive experience professionally with SIG series pistols, including the older P228. They're always good shooters. This one was this morning. We had no issues with it whatsoever, right out of the box, brand new. And that's pretty typical of the breed. Very comfortable pistol to shoot. Recoil is very manageable. The double action first shot, if you're not used to a double action trigger, it's going to be long, it's going to be heavy, probably in the neighborhood of 12 to 13 pounds, but it will get better. It will improve with use. The 15-round magazines are a nice touch. Of course, it will lock open on the empty magazine just like anything else will. Disassembly on this pistol is extraordinarily easy. Unlike a striker-fired gun, you don't have to do anything to disconnect the firing mechanism, right? So once you've rendered it safe, magazine out, check chamber, make sure it's empty, just like you do with anything, right? Once you've done that, you've got a disassembly lever over here that rotates down. Once you've got that disassembly lever down, all you have to do is release the slide and pull it off the front of the gun. Inside, you've got a recoil spring and guide that is not captured. So hang on to it. It doesn't have a huge amount of spring pressure on it. This pistol's kind of moderately sized. So it's not like something really small where you got a super tight spring, but hang on to it so it doesn't launch. And a barrel. And then you end up with the same things that we've talked about so many times that you end up with most modern semi-automatic pistols, right? You end up with a slide, barrel, frame, recoil spring and guide. When you put it back together, because that's not captured, you got to compress it a little bit and hang on to it. If you release it while you're compressing it, it's going to fly across the room. So pay attention to that. It's not a huge amount of pressure. 99% of you won't have any trouble at all. Slide goes back on the frame. Take it back to the locked open position and return the disassembly lever back where it goes. And what do we do then? We always function check, right? Make sure everything works the way it should, and it does. Good pistol. Expensive pistol. We have these in stock, by the way, so if you want one or more, give us a call or go online. You can get these from us. They're going to be $1,000, $999, $99, but you get an excellent world-class pistol with 3 15-round magazines. I mentioned that the military used this pistol until the new generation SIGs, the M18s and M17s get out there. They're still using it. Who uses it? Criminal investigators use it. Navy, Marine Corps Aviation uses it. I think even the Air Force, some of the Air Force Aviation uses it. So it's been around for a long time, this basic system. And the product improved M11-A1 is a better pistol than the old 228 was in the same size category. So if you like Sig Sauer, which is a top-notch manufacturer, world-class stuff, this is a good pistol to look at. Again, we have them in stock. They're right at $1,000, but we'll be happy to get one for you. We've got a few of them too, so we'd like to sell them, so let us know, okay? All right, that's all we have for right now, so until next time, thanks for watching. I'm Alan for Old English Outfitters.